Hey MMS, so today I want to talk about converting measurement units. So this is from Chapter 4, Lesson 5. Before we actually begin the lesson, I've got a few notes to just talk about. You do not have to write this down. So first thing I want to talk about is unit ratio. This is what you're going to be seeing in today's lesson. A unit ratio is going to have a denominator of 1, and it's going to have units in the ratio. Okay, so here we have 3 feet for every 1 yard. Another thing is dimensional analysis. This is the process of including units of measurement as factors when computing. And just to review what factors are going to be what multiplies to get your product. So here we have a factor times a factor gives us a product. Okay, a little example here, 3 times 5 is 15. 3 and 5 are the factors. So today, the process of including units of measurement as factors when computing, we're going to be having units as our factors. So that's just a little brief review. Don't write it down unless you want to. Okay, so for today's lesson, first we're going to write down some unit conversions just so you have them in your book. So with conversions, let's start with length. Okay, so with length, when we're talking about length, we're talking about feet, yards, miles. So we're going to find out how many feet are in a yard, how many yards are in a foot. Okay, so in this one I have my unit ratio. For every 1 foot there are 12 inches. Okay, that's how you can read that. And again, this is a unit ratio. Okay, so for every 1 yard, there are 3 feet. This one is miles. We're going to abbreviate it as MI. And for every mile, there are 5,280 feet. Okay, so these are some of the ways that we can use unit conversions. So if we're ever asked to convert miles to feet, then we could use this one, which tells us for every mile, there's going to be 5,280 feet. But one other thing to note and to understand is that even though this right here says 1 foot for every 12 inches, and we have feet in the numerator, we can easily switch this so that we have inches in the numerator and feet in the denominator. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here I wrote 12 inches in every foot. So it's the same thing, I just flipped it. Okay, so sometimes we're going to need to find feet or inches, and we might use this unit ratio or we might use this unit ratio. We'll talk more about that later. I'm going to put boxes around these so that we know they're their own ratio. And I'm going to put a large arrow that shows that these two can switch. Okay, so don't forget, draw this arrow. Don't forget that you can either have feet in the numerator or inches in the denominator. Okay, let's record weight. So these are going to be weight conversion. So that means pounds to ounces, tons to pounds. So in every pound, so LB stands for pound, in every pound, there are 16 ounces. OZ stands for ounces, okay? These are abbreviations. In every ton, T stands for ton, there are 2,000 pounds. Okay, again, LB stands for pounds. Those are the two weight conversions we're going to be looking at mainly in this lesson, and that we'll be using. But again, you can have ounces in the numerator and pounds in the denominator for this example. For this one, you could have tons in the denominator, pounds in the numerator. So here's another example of how I could switch those and how that would look. Okay, so here I have ounces in the numerator, pounds in the denominator. It's the same as this, but they're flipped. And I might use this one or this one when we're converting units. Okay, next one we're going to record is capacity. And I'm going to say capacity is going to be the same as volume. So if you've heard of volume in your science class, it's pretty much the same. So for every 1 cup, C stands for cup, there are 8 fluid ounces. So these are a little different than weight. This is measured with fluid, so 8 fluid ounces. For every 1 pint, there are 2 cups. So for every 1 pint, P stands for pint, there are 2 cups. QT stands for quart. So for every 1 quart, there are 2 pints. Okay, and last one, for every 1 gallon, again, GAL stands for gallon. There are 4 quarts. So again, I could have fluid ounces in the numerator, cups in the denominator. I can switch these, okay? So don't forget. Now, we are actually going to get talking about and learning how to convert these unit measurements. So we have the tools that we need to convert them. We need to learn how to do it now. So to make conversions, we are going to multiply by a conversion that will cancel units. Okay, so to make these conversions, we need to multiply a conversion that will cancel units. To add a little detail to that, the same unit in the denominator, okay, so if we have this unit in the denominator, we need to have that same unit in the numerator, and they will cancel out, okay? So let me just write that down as well. Okay, so same unit in the denominator and numerator will cancel. For example, if we have yards and we want to convert yards, so we have yards, okay, and yards would be in the numerator. We want to convert those yards to feet, for example. We have a conversion for that. The conversion we have is for every yard, there are 3 feet. So, okay, so we could either use this unit ratio or this unit ratio. 1 yard for every 3 feet, or 3 feet for every 1 yard. Now it's tough to decide which one you should use, but you should use the one that has yards in the denominator, because here it says same unit in the denominator and the numerator will cancel. So I have yards in my numerator, I need yards in my denominator. Okay, so I need yards in my denominator so that these two will cancel. So I'm going to choose this unit ratio. So I'm going to have feet in my numerator. I'm just going to circle this to say this is the one that I want to choose. Okay, I'm going to place my units first. Okay, now I'm going to put in the numbers. So I'm going to look at my conversion, I'm going to look at the cheat sheet that I have up here, and I'm going to see how many feet for every yard. So there are 3 feet for every 1 yard. Okay, and then I'll be able to cancel out yards. Alright, so then I'll be left with feet, which is the conversion that I would want. So let's try an actual example now. So we want to convert we want to convert 8 2/3 yards to feet. Okay, so that's the conversion we want to do. On the test or in a problem, this is what you'll be seeing. So let's start with 8 2/3 yards. Okay, so first thing, we have yards in the numerator. So what does that tell us? It tells us to cancel those yards. In order to get feet, we're going to need to have yards in the denominator. Okay, so right away I'm going to put yards in the denominator. I'm just placing my units first, okay? I don't know the numbers yet to put in, but I know that if I have yards in the numerator, I need to have yards in the denominator. And then I'm going to look at my conversions. So I want feet. That's the unit that I want. So I'm going to look here. 1 yard in every 3 feet, 3 feet in every 1 yard. They're the same, but again, I want yards in the denominator, so I'm going to use this conversion here. So feet is in the numerator. Okay, so now I'm going to place my numbers. 3 feet in every 1 yard. And now I can cancel out my yards. Okay, so now I'm left with feet, which is what I wanted. So we are also going to need to convert 8 2/3 to an improper fraction. Okay, so when I'm converting, I'm multiplying the whole number times the denominator. 8 times 3 is 24, plus the numerator. 24 plus 2 is 26. Over the denominator. Okay, and I'm not going to put the units down because I've canceled them out. So I have 26 over 3 times 3 feet over 1. Again, I'm not placing the units because I've canceled them out. Okay, so here I can multiply, but first I'm going to check to see if there's anything that I need to simplify. So I see that there's a 3 here and a 3 there, so I can simplify that. 3 goes into both of those, so I'm going to divide them by 3. 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 3 one time. Okay, so now I'm multiplying 26 times 1. 26, remember to have feet there. 1 times 1 is just 1. Okay, so 26 feet over 1, we know that that is the same as 26 feet. So that's our answer. Thank you.